we've been talking quite a bit about in recent weeks. The box office for the summer movie season has been pretty depressing. You know, Furiosa has flopped, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes flopped, The Fall Guy flopped, but apparently Bad Boys Ride or Die has done actually pretty well. It had $100 million opening weekend. It's currently sitting at 120 million worldwide. It's probably going to jump quite a bit as we head into the second weekend. And it's actually been a pretty good movie. It's nothing groundbreaking in terms of the story or the filmmaking or anything. It's just an old-fashioned action movie, but it seems to have like caught on to something, and it's actually done pretty well. And I guess I was kind of interested, like, you know, Mahler, as you brought up the point that there's like an anti-fandom around Disney Star Wars at the moment. There seems to be almost like a search for something positive, I guess, in modern cinema, and this seems to be one of the things that people have latched onto. And I guess I'm just curious, like, can this turn things around for Hollywood? Is this just going to be a flash in the pan, or are we going to have now a bit of a run of good movies, or at least successful movies at the box office?
I think it's a flash in the pan, to be honest.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you get a movie that's like, okay, decent.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I've seen it. It's fine. It's like perfectly fun. It's you know, it's a good action movie. I think the directors have done a good job with making it nice and kinetic, fast paced, quite inventive in terms of the action scenes, like the camera work, that sort of thing is all pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the stuff doing the rounds on Twitter, like where they got the rotating camera,
literally
on a gimbal.
Yeah,
that's cool. It's not the sort of thing you see very often, but it actually works really well on screen.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a first-person shooter almost.
Yeah, it's like Hardcore Henry, but like, you know, transposed into the Bad Boys universe. Is pretty cool. But I like the Bad Boy stuff like that.
Well, you know, I'm waiting for Austin Powers 4. I'm waiting for Rush Hour 4. I can't remember if there were talks of Shanghai Nights 3.
All sequels.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You guys remember Shanghai Nights?
When I was thinking about Austin Powers 4 being made, I meant, you know, soon after 3. Getting made today, I don't know about that.
No, I think there's talks about it. And
no. I know that. I'm saying I don't know that I'd want it to be made today.
Right.
Because it would be super political and you can't say anything.
Shit, probably.
Because isn't that the thing with most of the movies?
But I don't think
been written. Now they're coming out, so it's going to take another couple years for them to maybe course correct. Like I'm over here going to see old movies in the theater. Like I just watched all the Lord of the Rings extended edition in the theaters at like my local was like, oh, I'll do this. I'd rather just watch old good movies for the first time. Like, you know, on the big screen, not for the first time, but you know.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll start making, but I don't think Mike Myers really cares about that shit. I don't think he's the type.
Yeah, he's kind of semi-retired at this point, hasn't he? And he's just,
after Shrek. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just kind of doing the things that he's like he enjoys or whatever that he cares about. But I think with something like Bad Boys, like that was still got guys like Jerry Bruckheimer as executive producers. And I do wonder if there's a bit of an appetite for a comeback for movies like that. You know, we all know the sort of Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer style of movie that was around in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it's been quite some time since we've had that kind of thing. And I wonder if that's making a bit of a comeback at this point.
Do you think we're just in the opposite end of where we were, let's say, 2018-19, where it was almost figured out to a T in a lab exactly what movies make money and don't, and now we're at a point where it's like, I have no fucking clue. It could be anything.
Well, trends run their course, don't they? Like we had the superhero genre, you know, we've had various things that have come and gone, and like there's now the search for the next thing. And we talked about this before, like maybe it's going to be video game adaptations, maybe action movies are going to make a more of a comeback and become like the mainstay of the summer movie season. We're still in a state of flux right now. We haven't quite figured it out. And obviously it takes a couple of years to get a movie through production, scripting, principal photography, and then post-production to actually get it out there. So it's a slow-moving ship, I suppose, but it has to change course at some point. It has to pick a new direction, and it just I guess I wonder which direction it's ultimately going to take.
Yeah, Cowboy with that Kevin Costner, his great next like Dances with Wolves, the American Saga or whatever. That's going to be a big long 2-part, 4 hours in total.
Yeah.
And then
It could be Dances with Wolves, or it could be The Postman. Like
that's what I'm saying.
with Kevin
Which I
Costner,
like.
you never
I
know.
like The Postman, unfortunately. So, but yeah, it could go either way. But people want anything other than another Panderstone. Basically.
I think action movies are the way. 90s had some dope ass action movies. 80s had some awesome action movies. I think we just need stuff like that again.
Yeah.
There's too much reliance on superhero movies, which are great, but I want to see some kind of like Reacher. You want to see some jacked dudes that are just doing dude shit and like fucking people up.
Well, I think to an extent as well, the audience, it's like, what are they? I feel like they're ready to engage hardcore with some kind of trend or franchise, but there's just not enough of a unification on like, which one is it? What are we doing? What's happening next?
Yeah.
Where are we going?
We've all been hurt.
Yeah.
We've all been hurt.
I don't even think that's like not even an exaggeration. I think a lot of people.
No, I'm serious. Yeah.
To family members who casually just tell me like they haven't been to the cinema in ages, and I'll be like, oh, why? And they're like, it just doesn't feel worthwhile. It's like,
well, look at Az. You've all told him about House of the Dragon, but because of his feelings on Game of Thrones, he won't even approach it. Maybe a couple years from now he'll watch it. Or
we're trying to push him on that.
I hope he does, because I was like, no, I did the 7 and 8 really upset me for various reasons, and then I watched the first one and the second one, and before I knew it, I was like, this is the best damn television ever. So there's stuff out there, but
would you say it's Gary would Game of Thrones?
I mean, season 1 of House of the Dragon, I would rank it probably above 5, 6, 7, 8 of Game of Thrones, and then it would start getting complicated to rank it against 1, 2, 3, 4. But I was just going to say, and Gary, I think, is definitely on this sort of train. I know Drinker would be, and I imagine you would be as well, Theory as well, you Badger, that we kind of like, we see an opportunity with House of the Dragon of like, oh, we got a chance here to weekly speculate and celebrate a TV show and talk about it with everybody in a fun, positive way.
Yeah, it's made by people that I don't think hate me is the big one also.
And that's the thing about people who are like, I'd rather wait till it finishes before I, take a chance or something like that. And it's like, that's fair and fine, and I totally understand. But at the same time, it would be neat if you were there for the fun of the chatting about it and the celebrating that there is still media to, like the Arcane season 2 trailer just dropped, and a lot of people are getting hyped for that. I'm really hoping that's going to be really good. Be nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess with House of the Dragon, like, because it's kind of proved itself with season 1, do you think season 2 is going to have a much bigger impact? Because as good as season 1 was, I don't feel like it was a Game of Thrones level good, where like it was a water cooler show where everyone was talking about it. It was more just like, yeah, we recognize this is pretty decent, and you've definitely redeemed yourselves a little bit after Game of Thrones.
If you believe Ryan and Gary, it's going to be more divisive than the Red Wedding as far as like things that happen, and that's the first episode.
We'll see.
So, I haven't read the books that I know you haven't either, because that's why. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen. I like the speculation.
Well, and I've been rewatching it to get caught back up, and I've just been reminded of like it's staggering to watch House of the Dragon and Acolyte back to back. The insane. Ryan had mentioned it on one of these streams, just that HBO, they have a long history of making TV shows, while Lucasfilm clearly still haven't figured it out yet. They don't know how to. Whether or not we talk about what story decisions they make. I'm sorry, Theory. I don't like barely any of their TV shows.
Mando? You didn't like Mando?
No. Season 1 I thought was, but to be fair, I think Andor's good. So it's, but I still would agree, even with that they don't know what they're doing.
Look, I think Andor was written very well, and I think it was shot very well. I think the music was good. I just found the story to be a little prolonged. That was it for me.
Space AK-47s. I noticed it.
Yeah.
I noticed it.
But
I think with Mando as well, like that, the secret to its success in season 1 lay in its absolute boneheaded simplicity. Just like the way easiest, the easiest possible storyline. Just man with no name, gunslinger goes into like some random location, gets involved in a mini adventure of the week, and then moves on to the next thing. Easy peasy. You can't go wrong with that sort of formula. They started to then branch out with season 2 and then season 3. Like they tried to make it this big epic story that's tied into loads of other things.
Season
that's when
3,
they just came unstuck.
God, I don't know what the hell happened there. My clones. It's like, what? Well,
I mean, Chris Gore had said it. He said it in tweets too. The Disney literally, and it's not even an insult, they do not know how to make television. They do it. They remember that they did it all at once instead of being able to course correct. Like they did a bunch of amateur things in just television making. They made them like movies, and that's why you saw all of their multiple, amongst many other reasons, failures.